this tutorial, we are focusing on Maggot, the maggoty worm thing from Tim Burton's Corpse Bride. I happen to think he's absolutely adorable. He is one of my favorite characters from the movie, which is why I'm making a tutorial for him. So I am using a 6x6 square of canvas tonight, and obviously the traceable I have, this is just the original drawing I did in Sharpie, is bigger, so I will be hand drawing tonight onto the canvas. So I did not have you prep your canvas. That's because the background is sort of like snowy, so it's actually going to be kind of a whitish gray color, and I really wanted to show you how to do that, and then I'll just hand draw right on top of that. So I'm going to get my wash brush, and I'm going to take some white and just a tiny bit of black here, and it's going to be a light gray. And I'm not worried too much about, as you can see there's some streaks here, blending it fully, because to me snow can be a little bit streaky, and I know you're probably thinking, well, with snow I would probably use blue instead of black in the white. But this is a Tim Burton film, so everything has that kind of grayish hue. So when I was looking at reference photos for Maggot, and I saw this one of him in the snow, it really looked kind of grayish to me. So that's what I'm going with. Feel free to change it up if you would like. I'm going to thin out my... I got some red. I did not mean to do that. So I'm going to try to take a rag. And get rid of that. All right. Crisis averted. Okay. Anyway. Feel free to change up the colors any way you want. This is your painting. And I did it again. And you need to be happy with it. So again, I'm not being too particular with any streakiness that there might be. I'm not too worried about it. The only thing I'm doing is just making sure, sometimes it's hard when you're working with a light color to see if all of the surface is covered well, and there's no little, with this really textured canvas sheets, sometimes you'll see some white coming through. So I just want to make sure, because I do have that slate gray, that there is no white showing through. Okay, I'm going to take my heat gun and alright. So I'm actually going to take a pencil. I couldn't find my dark graphite. I have a feeling one of my kids walked off with it. But anyway, I'm just going to start drawing out Maggot. I'm going to start, he's coming out of a hole. There's a scene where he kind of falls to the ground in the snow, and he makes a hole, and then he kind of sticks out of it. So that's what I'm going with here. So I did my kind of oval here. That's what he's going to be sticking out of. And now I'm just coming in to do his neck. And he's really skinny. I mean, he is kind of wormy after all. So it's 2 curved lines. Now for the rest of his body, I'm gonna come up with this big swooping line that curves just over the edge of the hole and continues down and kind of goes like that. So we have sort of a sideways C here. And then we're going to come back around. And as you're coming around, his tail's going to be thicker. So you're going to end up right about here. So you're going to keep curving. And then you end up, so he goes from really thin to thicker there. Okay. I'm trying to be super careful with my pencil because graphite is incredibly hard to get off of paint. I would have to completely paint over whatever line is a mistake. So, but if you're using chalk, you don't have to be quite as careful. So I'm just going to bring my drawing over here so I can see it. Oops. A little bit easier. Okay, so I'm going to extend that up. And then his little chin is like a curved line there. Comes up. And then on this side, you do almost like a C. And then a curved line that makes a smile. And we'll close that off like a V there. And then he's got these 2 goofy little teeth there. He's so silly. So his lips are kind of pointy. Oops. And that finishes the smile. I think I needed to make this go out a little bit more. Okay. Now from the lip, I'm going to do a slightly curved line, or diagonal, I should say, line. And then there's a C. And then this comes up. And this is going to connect to that lip line there. And I'm going to do the same thing sort of on that side. Okay, so inside here, this comes up. He's got like these bags under his eyes. And he's got these big, 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 big bulging eyes here. Comes up. And let's see. We're going to come just slightly under where that line is. And we're going to come and do like a J, almost a backwards J. And then this is going to come around. We'll close that out there. Actually, it's probably bigger. There we go. And the eyeball. Those big eyeballs. Of course, I said I was going to be careful, and I'm making a hot mess with this. But I will just paint over. And then he's got these little adorable eyebrows. He just cracks me up. I think I've said that like 10 times now, but still he does. He cracks me up. Okay. And then we just connect his head. So that did need to be bigger. And the eyeball will be like that. Okay. Okay. I'll fix all that as I'm painting. but you get the idea. Feel free, please feel free to use the traceable if you need to. Okay. All right, so we have a wonky little maggot here. Okay. I'm going to start with Maggot because doing the whole first will be covering up his body, and I really don't want to be doing that. So his body is like this yellowy green color. Oh, one of the things I did not draw here, but I put on the tutorial is the segments. If you can see the segments in here, I'm just going to paint those. Oops, sorry, knocked the camera. Feel free to draw those in. I'm just going to come in and just do his body, fill his body in, and then I'll come in and add the different shades and everything after the fact. Okay. I've got his body done. Now I'm coming in and I'm going to do his head, the top of his head. I'm going to switch to a smaller brush because that is a very tight space there. And I don't really want to, unless I have to, try to match that white paint, that gray, I should say, gray paint that I did. Another thing I didn't have you draw or didn't put on the traceable is he's got these kind of wrinkles that go under his eyes here. So we'll draw that in with the brush as we go. So this is all going to need another coat, and like I said, we're going to add details. So if you see some of the grayish white coming through, it's not the end of the world. Okay, so his eyebrows are, I want to say, like a very dark green. So how I mix is to use just the plain green and then a little bit of dark brown to give me that that really deep, like forest green type of color. And then I'll just come in and the eyebrow really comes all the way down. If you're putting your arm over your work like I am, just make sure it's either dry or you wipe off your hand before moving on to something else, because you really don't want to get all of that color like I did the other day. I think it was on Oogie Boogie. I kept sticking my hand in stuff, and you really don't want to do that. So the area, the poofy area directly around his eyes is like this kind of purpley color. So I'm going to take some of my purple and mix it with just a touch of white. And then I'm going to add the teeny tiniest little touch of red to this. And it gives you this really nice purple color. Maybe just a tiny bit more red. There we go. And this comes up and goes right under his eyes and around. Should have done the other side first, but I'll just be careful. So on this side, it doesn't go all the way around because he's kind of looking to the side. So we're gonna, it's kind of two parts here. The top part, which I'm doing now. And this part that kind of swings down. Every once in a while I'm just thinning out my paint because it gets a little dry fast on that canvas sometimes, palette sometimes. All right. I think I'm gonna bring this one down a little bit more. Just a smidge. Okay. Actually, I think I need to bring it down a bit more than that. There we go. Okay, his lips are actually the same color as those bags or whatever you want to call them. So I'm going to go ahead and fill that in. And I'm going to have to fill in with some green there because I realized I missed a bit. In with the green and just connect. There we go. All right. Now his eyeballs are actually kind of a yellowy white color. So I'm going to take some white and add some yellow to it to get this yellowy color. And then the same thing on the other side, I actually think. Yeah, that's good. All right. You can see my drawing's a tiny bit wonky. I did the scale a little bit off, but I'm not worried about it. I'm just having fun. And look what I did. I did exactly what I told you not to do. I stuck my hand in the paint and got it on my canvas. I'm going to clean that up in just a minute. Alright, so let me get a clean brush and I'll use this rough one here and see if I can get this paint off. There we go. Crisis averted. Okay. Now his teeth are actually just plain white. So I'm gonna just fill in the white teeth. Okay. And then inside the mouth is just black. All right, he looks a little goofy now, but he is goofy. All right, so I'm just gonna put some pupils in here. I am gonna do second coats on stuff, but I just wanna get the details kind of laid out. Make this one a little bit bigger. Okay. Now, we're gonna start filling in details, and then we'll come in and do the circle that he's coming out of. So actually I'm gonna come in and do his, the eyebrows again, because that's easy. I just mixed more of that green and dark brown. Okay. So now I'm going to use that same dark greenish brown, and I'm going to come in and kind of do some little segments on him. Now, if you look at pictures of him, the body is a little bit bumpy. So I'm going to leave that up to you. I'll show you how to do the bumps. I'm going to leave that up to you if you want to leave him smooth, or if you want to make him bumpy. Okay. So to get that kind of rounded in between the segments, all you have to do, we're gonna have to mix some more of that greenish yellow color. And then touch more yellow. Okay, let me wipe my hand. And then all we will do is, as we are filling in more, we just bump it out a little bit. So we'll just come out a little bit. And then come out a little bit. And you don't have to make them as round as I am if you don't want to. Or like I said, you don't even have to do them at all. It is your discretion. He's going to be adorably Maggot, whether you do the rounds or not. Okay, just gonna keep doing this. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and do a second coat up on the head too, to get that done. right. So I'm going to go back with that. Actually, I'm going to do some of the detailing now. Okay, so the light is kind of shining on the top of his head. So the very top of his head actually has sort of like this yellowish tint to it. So I'm going to come in and just put a yellow mix on there. I just took the green that I already had, the green and yellow mix, and I just added a touch more yellow to it. And the yellow comes kind of in between, and a little bit kind of down in between his eyebrows. And I just figured out why my picture looks wonky. The space in between his eyebrows and his eyes is way too big. But again, I'm not going to worry too much about it. There we go. And I'm going to take a tiny bit of that darker green and mix it in with the regular green. And I'm going to come in here. Maybe need a little bit more. And just do a little bit of shading where the nose, or what I would consider the nose on him, versus his regular skin. Is it skin? Does he have skin? I don't know. And just like with the other things, we're just going to come blend. And then take that dark color, and then again on the other side. And this one we're going to take pretty far across, like that. Maybe a little bit right there, because it kind of curves a bit. Just take that over. Okay, and then tiny bit here. All right. Let's see where else. There's some shading here. Let's see. Underneath his lips, we're going to have a bit of shading there. And then probably closer to each of the segment marks. And we'll go in and put the segment marks in again and just kind of blend them a bit. For right now, we're just kind of getting the lay of the land, I guess. If you've watched the other videos, you know that everything has a few steps to it. And multiple layers. And if you're doing if you have followed along with the other videos, then you pretty much know where I'm going with this, hopefully. If not, that's okay too. Now I'm going to take that dark off my brush. And while that is still a little wet, I'm going to come in and blend with the regular, the green we mixed the whole body with. If it's not blending anymore, you can always add a bit of the dark again. And just blend. Brush back and forth. And then the light in the middle. And with these down here, it's kind of, it's near that entrance to the hole. So there's a little bit of a shadowiness on the bottom here. So I'm just trying to make that a bit darker. And now come in. I'm just playing around to see what feels right with this. And I can always add more highlights or shadows if needed in here again. All right. Finishing this up, let's add now, much like his head, there's a bit of a yellowish glow on part of him. So I'm coming in and I'll do that lighter green mixture in here for some of it. And what I'm going to do is kind of block it like that, and then I'm just going to pull down. If I have to add some glazing liquid to make it pull properly, so be it. And just have it come down. So by adding the pulled down, it kind of adds to making it feel like he's round. There we go. And I'm just going to add a tiniest bit here as well. But this is really going down into the hole, so it's not going to be as yellow. But he does have some light on him here. And again, glazing medium to pull it. And if you need to add a touch more, now I'm just going to mix some more of that dark brown, or dark green here. And I'm going to add, I'm just going to come in and kind of blend a bit using my glazing medium or water if needed. Coming in to blend it a little bit. Just coming in, blending it around. I got too much here, so I'm going to come back with the light. There. And blend. And blend. And, whoops, covered up too much of it. blend. And blend. So the trick is just to keep blending as you can. Right. Blend, blend. There we go. I think I'm gonna blend some of what I did over here because it's just a bit much. There we go. That's a bit better. Same thing here. A little bit. I need a bit of a shadow under here that I lost. All right, there we go. Okay, and let's add some more of that yellow in here. Okay. So then we're gonna come in and do some of the finer details, like, well, actually I need to redo the lips, do the second coat of the lips. So let's do that first. So to remember, it's the purple, the white, and a little bit of red. And it gives you, I actually added more red this time to be a little bit more accurate with the coloring. And it gives you this purpley, almost like bruise-like color. And I wonder if that was the intention, to make him look like he had bruises. I don't know. And now come in and we'll do a couple, I guess, highlights on the lip. There's one kind of comes in on the side here. And then down here. And then there's a little bit of a highlight under the eye here that kind of swings around. I'm gonna use some of my glazing liquid to pull this a bit, thin it out some. Might be a bit too much of the highlight. Oops. Clean the 2 dots I made. To fix that after, I think. Oh, got it. Okay, so there's that highlight. And then we're going to come in and right along where his nose, or whatever you might want to call it, is, he's got a bit of a highlight. Right on the edge there. And it goes kind of down like that. And then there's a lighter one. Or I should say darker highlight. Ooh, that's not showing. A bit right up there. Let me add. I'm going to add a couple highlights to the head. It doesn't necessarily need it, but while I'm in the mood here, let's get okay. And I might do a little tiny highlight right along that edge too. All right. Now I mentioned he has some wrinkles, so I'm going to take and make that really dark green again. I'm going to come through under his eye. And just put a few marks, and then over here as well. And he's got a couple little wrinkles on his head. And those are a bit intense, so I am going to take a brush and just take some glazing liquid and just thin them out a little bit. Especially with these. I think I just need to blend them down a little bit. not feeling it. I'm trying to figure out how I can fix it. Just a smidge. There we go. That's all it needed, was just some blending. Blending is the answer to all. There we go. And I'll do his nostrils. I'm adding just a touch of black to that. And he has two little nostrils right towards the middle here. And then I'm going to add, just to make it look like it's popping a little bit, I'm going to add a tiny bit of that highlight color. Just, ooh, just underneath the nostrils there. Maybe come up. The side there. All right. Oh, he's so cute. Okay, so the hole is where we're going now. And that is just going to be basically different variations of gray. So towards the top, it's going to be less gray. And then towards the bottom, more gray. So I'm just going to come in and do some lightish gray, not as light as our background. But some lightish gray. Just be careful with his body here. And then once I get down a little bit, I'm going to switch to pretty much black. And then I'm going to carefully come around his body here. And if you need to, switch out your brushes if it's too tight. And then what I'm going to do, while those are still wet, I'm going to clean off my brush. And I'm going to take some glazing liquid or something like water and just come in and blend the two together. And just being careful. And if you have to, you can come in and add more of your light and have that blend. Touching up as needed. Okay, now we're going to come do the same thing over here. Start with the light. Except here, it's going to curve more. Because you won't see as much of the light when you're looking at it from the front. Blend, blend, blend. Remember to add more light if you need to. And just keep blending. And then over here it's just dark. It's just the gray. Dark gray or black. And I think I am, just because I'm picky, going to touch up the light gray in the background, but that's just me. The last little touch is going to be adding a bit of shadow to those teeth of his. So I'm just going to take some of this grayish color that we made and just come in here and shadow in, and then I'm going to come in with just plain white, come back in and blend a bit. All right, I think I'm gonna add a bit more straight right to that one because it's in the front. And then just shadow under the lip. There we go. That's better. All right, I think he's done. I'm going to clean up my background, sign it, and then I'll come back for the big reveal. I think I might do a little bit of touch up on the eyeballs too. As I was doing the second coat on the eyeballs, I decided that I wanted to add a tiny bit of shading to the edges. So I'm going to take my thin brush. I mixed a little bit of yellow and white with some of the burnt umber, dark brown if you want to say that. And then I'm just going to come in and just shadow around the edges. And then I'm going to take this one, not on this side because that's where the light is hitting, and then I'm going to take that light yellow and some glazing liquid, and I'm going to come and blend. I think I need a different brush. Blend where that shadow is. It's just the slightest little touch, but all these little touches just add up to making it more special. Okay. That's pretty good. Okay, I touched everything up and removed the tape. I went ahead and signed my name using the purpley color that we made, and now we have a cute little maggot.